Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live someone else's life, to walk in their shoes, quite literally? I never did. I was content being Billy, a 36-year-old single dad who'd raised his daughter Lindsay alone since she was 6. But life had other plans for me. It started as an ordinary. Lindsay and I were in the garage working on her car, a beat-up Honda Civic that needed constant attention. She was holding the flashlight while I tinkered with the engine. "Dad, you really need to get out more," Lindsay said, continuing our earlier conversation. "I'm graduating soon. You should start dating again." I grunted from under the hood. "I'm perfectly happy as I am, thank you." "But Dad..." That's when it happened, a blinding white light and a deafening boom that shook the entire garage, and a strange tingling sensation that coursed through my body. When my vision cleared, I was no longer underneath the hood. I was standing beside the car with the flashlight in my hand, exactly where Lindsay had been positioned. Across from me, I saw my own body with its head and torso still under the hood where I had just been working on the engine. "Dad," my body called out, pulling itself out from under the hood. I looked down and saw slender arms, small hands with nail polish, and a tank top stretched over breasts that definitely wasn't mine. "Lindsay," I squeaked, then clasped my hand over my mouth at the sound of my daughter's voice coming from my throat. We both screamed. "What the heck just happened?" I gasped, trying not to panic as I stared at my own body, now apparently occupied by my daughter. "I don't know," she replied, looking down at her new hands. "My hands. You're me, and you're me." Before we could process this further, we heard shouting from outside. We ran to the driveway and found our neighbors in a state of chaos. People were running around, screaming about being in the wrong bodies. "I'm not supposed to be in this old body," shouted an elderly woman. "I'm not a little girl," yelled a young child. Amid the confusion, someone mentioned the scientist who lived 3 doors down. Apparently, his experiment had gone terribly wrong, swapping everyone in the vicinity with someone nearby. The scientist himself had ended up in the body of a young mother and was frantically trying to figure out how to reverse the process. A hasty neighborhood meeting was called, where everyone agreed to keep this incident secret from the outside world. The government might get involved, and none of us wanted to become lab rats. We would all pretend to be the person whose body we now occupied, until the scientist could fix his machine. And so began my life as my 18-year-old daughter. That evening, the doorbell rang. Lindsay, in my body, answered it. "Oh, hi, Faye," she said to her best friend. Faye looked confused, glancing between us. "Mr. B?" We pulled her inside and explained the situation. To her credit, Faye adapted quickly. "So, you're actually Billy?" she asked, pointing at me. "In Lindsay's body?" I nodded miserably. "And you're Lindsay in your dad's body?" She confirmed with my daughter, who nodded too. "Well," Faye said, flopping onto the couch, "this is wild. But I saw the elderly woman next door doing a cartwheel in her front yard, so I believe you." She offered to stay the night to help us adjust, particularly me. I would need guidance navigating life as a teenage girl, especially since we didn't know how long this would last. That night, I found myself facing the first of many awkward situations, sleeping in Lindsay's bed with Faye on a trundle beside me. I wore the baggiest sleep shirt I could find in Lindsay's closet, a faded gray oversized tee with a cartoon cat on it. The feel of the soft cotton sheets against my bare legs was disconcerting. I lay rigid, afraid to move, staring at the ceiling plastered with glow-in-the-dark stars. "You can relax, you know," Faye whispered in the darkness. "It's not like you're going to accidentally float away." "Easy for you to say," I whispered back. "You're still you." Morning brought a new challenge. I woke up groggy and sore from holding myself so stiffly all night. Nature called, and I couldn't postpone it any longer. I shuffled to the bathroom, locked the door, and stared at my reflection. Lindsay's reflection. Her long hair was a tangled mess, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. My eyes now. I needed a shower. With extreme reluctance, I turned on the water and began to undress, keeping my eyes firmly on the ceiling. But as I removed the sleep shirt, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. The shock of seeing my daughter's naked body made me freeze. It felt wrong, invasive, even though logically I knew this body was temporarily mine. I quickly averted my eyes, stepped into the shower, and rinsed off as fast as humanly possible, trying not to touch or look at anything more than absolutely necessary. Afterwards, wrapping a towel tightly around myself, I called out to Faye through the bathroom door. I need clothes. I don't know what to wear. Faye handed me a stack through a barely open door. Start with these. The first item was a pair of cotton underwear with tiny strawberries printed on them. The next was something I had dreaded, a bra. I fumbled with the contraption, twisting and turning it before finally getting it on. It felt constrictive and uncomfortable, and I wondered how women dealt with this every day. Next came a blue denim skirt that felt too breezy, and a loose green top that made me instantly self-conscious. I emerged from the bathroom feeling like I was wearing a costume. "You look fine," Faye assured me, though her suppressed smile suggested I didn't quite pull it off. "But your hair is a disaster." The next 20 minutes were spent with Faye brushing and styling Lindsay's long hair, explaining the mysteries of conditioner and detangler spray. My scalp stung, and I gained a new appreciation for the time Lindsay spent on her appearance each morning. The following days were a crash course in being a teenage girl. Faye practically moved in, coaching me through Lindsay's daily routine. Lindsay herself, in my body, checked in frequently to guide me. "Don't slouch like that. And stop walking so heavy-footed. You're making me look like a lumberjack. And please stop staring at the floor when people talk to you. I always make eye contact." "That's because you're confident. I feel like an imposter." "You are an imposter," Lindsay said with a laugh, "but no one else knows that, so fake it." I practiced sitting with my knees together, speaking in Lindsay's higher register, and applying basic makeup under Faye's supervision. The foundation felt like a mask on my skin, and the mascara made me blink uncontrollably. "How do you not stab yourself in the eye every morning?" I asked Lindsay in frustration. "Practice," she replied with a shrug. My shrug, which looked strange on my normally unexpressive face. "And the hair," I complained, gesturing to the long brown locks that seemed to have a mind of their own. "Welcome to my world," Lindsay said without sympathy. "Now you know why I'm always asking for hair ties." The weekend passed, and Monday brought a new terror: high school. I would have to attend Lindsay's classes, interact with her friends, and somehow maintain her GPA. Faye was my lifeline, literally walking me through the school day. "That's Jason. You have biology with him. Say hi, but don't stop to chat. He'll talk your ear off about his car." "That's Mr. Reynolds. Lindsay has an A in his class, so smile, but don't volunteer any answers." I copied Lindsay's handwriting as best as I could, stayed quiet in classes, and tried to blend in. But the social dynamics of high school were bewildering. Girls spoke in codes and hidden meanings. Boys stared in ways that made me uncomfortable. Teachers expected Lindsay's usual stellar performance. By the end of the week, I had developed a profound respect for what Lindsay navigates daily. The pressure, the social anxiety, the constant performance. Lindsay made it look effortless, but experiencing it firsthand was exhausting. School lunch was particularly stressful. I stuck close to Faye, copying her movements like a shadow.
"Is it always this complicated?" I whispered to her after narrowly avoiding sitting at what she called the drama club table. "You have no idea," Faye replied, steering me toward a group of girls I vaguely recognized from Lindsay's Instagram. "Just smile and ask about the chemistry homework." The social minefield of high school was even more challenging than the academic demands. Every interaction felt loaded with potential mistakes. Each conversation seemed to have subtext I couldn't quite grasp, and the constant awareness of how I looked, moved, and spoke was mentally draining in a way my job at the auto shop never was. Friday night brought another challenge when Faye declared that I needed more clothing options. "You've worn the same 3 outfits all week. People are gonna notice." And so began what Faye called a fashion show. She pulled items from Lindsay's closet, creating combinations I would never have considered. A cream-colored cable-knit sweater paired with a burgundy corduroy skirt that fell just above the knee. A teal-green cotton blouse with ruffled cap sleeves matched with dark navy skinny jeans. A sunshine yellow sundress with a delicate floral pattern and thin straps that made me feel painfully exposed. "I can't wear that," I protested at the sundress. "Everyone will see her arms." Faye laughed. "That's kind of the point. Lindsay has great arms." I tried on outfit after outfit, modeling each one for Faye, who gave running commentary. Some looked ridiculous, some surprisingly flattering. Despite my initial resistance, I found myself laughing along with Faye, enjoying the camaraderie, if not the clothes themselves. That night, Faye suggested a bath to help me relax after the stressful week. "Just soak for a while," she said, running the water and adding some lavender-scented bubbles. "It'll help with the tension headache you've been complaining about." Hesitantly, I agreed. Once alone, I slipped into the warm water, keeping the bubbles strategically placed. The sensation was overwhelming. The water seemed to touch me differently in this body, more sensitively. I focused on my breathing, trying to stay still and not disturb the protective layer of bubbles. Despite my discomfort, I had to admit the warm water did ease the tension in my shoulders and neck. As the second week began, I started to adjust. I could put on a bra without a 15-minute struggle. I remembered to use conditioner. I even managed to apply mascara without poking myself in the eye. More surprisingly, I began to see glimpses of Lindsay's life that I had never noticed before. How her friends looked to her for advice, how her teachers respected her intelligence, how some of the boys looked to her with genuine admiration, not just attraction. Lindsay, meanwhile, seemed to be thriving in my life. She enjoyed the straightforwardness of my job, the respect my coworkers showed her, the simplicity of my routine. "Being you is easier in some ways, Dad," she told me one evening as we ate dinner. "Being you is harder in ways I never appreciated," I admitted. "The social pressure alone would break me if I had to do it long term." She smiled, a strange expression on my usually stoic face. "But you're doing it, and maybe when we switch back, you'll remember what it's like to live a little. You deserve to enjoy life, Dad, not just survive it." Her words stayed with me. Had I been merely surviving since her mother left? Had I used being a single parent as an excuse to stop living fully? 2 weeks after the incident, the news spread through the neighborhood. The machine was repaired. That evening, we would all gather in our homes at exactly 8 p.m. for the reversal. Faye hugged me goodbye. "It's been weird, but kind of fun. You're a good sport, Billy." As 8 p.m. approached, Lindsay and I sat in the living room waiting. Neither of us spoke. "No matter what happens," Lindsay said finally, "I love you, Dad." "I love you too," I replied, my voice catching slightly. At 8 p.m. sharp, the white light returned, filling the room with its blinding glow. I felt the strange tingling again, a sensation of floating, of being everywhere and nowhere at once. The end.